Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Python's foundational building blocks, specifically looking through the lens of CL coding innovations. You know, a lot of folks look at a programming language and just see this towering, intimidating wall of complex syntax. But we're going to flip that script. We're treating Python's syntax as your essential toolkit, the exact tools you need to master NumPy basics, from arrays and indexing to slicing and basic operations. By the time we wrap up, you're going to see exactly how these pieces snap together to build some seriously powerful, high-performance solutions.
But, hey, before we get bogged down in the heavy coding logic, here's a fun little aside. Python's creator, Guido van Rossum, actually designed the language with a really playful spirit back in '91. If you've ever read the official docs and wondered why they keep talking about spam and eggs instead of the usual foo and bar, well, it's because Python was named as a tribute to the British comedy troupe Monty Python's Flying Circus, not the snake. Keeping things accessible and, honestly, a bit fun has literally been a core goal since day one.
All right, so here is our agenda for today. We are going to quickly cover the Python philosophy, core data types, working with sequences, indexing and slicing, and then we'll wrap it all up with operators and expressions. Starting with Section 1, the Python philosophy. We're talking about a mindset that prioritizes code being intuitive, easy to read, and easy to maintain for absolutely everyone.
And honestly, this comparison right here shows exactly why Python is such a game changer for data science. Look at older languages like C. You're forced to strictly declare variable types, you've got semicolons cluttering up the end of every single line, and curly braces everywhere just to grip your code. Python, it completely throws that out the window. It uses dynamic typing. You literally just type my variable equals 42, and Python handles all the type matching under the hood. It uses simple white space and indentation instead of curly braces, making it read so much more like just plain English.
Moving on to Section 2, core data types. These are the built-in numeric forms Python uses behind the scenes to actually make your calculations work.
Here's a quick snapshot of the primary numbers powering your logic. We've got standard integers and floating point decimals, and Python handles their memory limits totally invisibly. This means your numbers can scale up as large as your machine allows without breaking a sweat. Plus, we have native support for complex numbers, real and imaginary parts, which is exactly why Python is the ultimate foundation for heavy-duty numerical arrays and matrix operations. And of course, rounding it out is our Boolean type for standard true or false logic.
Okay. Section 3, working with sequences. We've got our basic data atoms, so let's start building them into molecules.
The real star of the show here is mutability. We basically have two native ways to group our data, lists and tuples. Lists, which use square brackets, are mutable. Think of them like an open box. You can add, remove, or swap items whenever you want. Tuples, on the other hand, use parentheses and are immutable. Once you make a tuple, it's sealed shut. No changes allowed. Getting a really solid grip on this difference between mutable and immutable is absolutely crucial, especially before you dive into managing the memory and performance of massive, mutable NumPy arrays.
Which brings us to Section 4, indexing and slicing. Because what happens when you only need a tiny, specific piece of that sequence?
So, how do we actually extract that specific chunk of data? Well, this right here is where we truly unlock those NumPy basics. Manipulating arrays relies entirely on mastering these core Python extraction methods. Whether you're dealing with a basic list or a massive multidimensional array, you absolutely have to know how to grab the exact chunk of data you need right when you need it.
Think of slicing as literally taking a pair of scissors to your data. You use square brackets with a colon in the middle, like a sub ij. Now remember, Python starts counting at 0. So when you slice from index I to j, Python pulls the data starting exactly at I and goes right up to but does not include j. You might be wondering, why do it that way? Well, this half-open interval actually makes the math super clean. You just subtract the start index from the stop index and boom, that's the exact number of items you just sliced out.
Oh, and Python has this amazing built-in shortcut for grabbing the end of a list. In a lot of other languages, if you want the last item, you literally have to write a function to calculate the whole length of the array and then subtract 1. It's a hassle. Python, it just uses negative indexing. You ask for index -1, and Python just instantly loops around to the back and hands you the last item. You don't even need to know how long the sequence actually is.
For the more complex stuff, Python uses extended slicing, formatted as start, stop, step. That third parameter, the step or stride, is a total game changer for maneuvering through arrays.
Let's say you want to extract every second item in a massive dataset. You just set the stride to 2. Simple. Set the stride to -1, Python will literally read your entire list backwards. It's just an incredibly elegant way to traverse your data natively.
Finally, we hit Section 5, Operators and Expressions. Let's look at how we actually smash all these building blocks together to calculate some results.
So beyond your standard plus and minus signs, Python gives us some really unique operators specifically tailored for data science. We've got the double slash for floor division, which just chops off the decimal remainder, and the modulo to find only the remainder. But check out the @ symbol. This is a dedicated operator specifically for matrix multiplication. It was literally designed for array processing libraries like NumPy to handle basic operations on massive datasets natively. Oh, and we also have the newer walrus operator, which lets you assign values right inside a larger expression. Super handy for tightening up your scripts.
And hey, operators aren't just for math. You can use the addition and multiplication symbols to seamlessly combine or duplicate strings. Adding spam and eggs literally concatenates them into one single string, spam eggs. Multiply a string by 3, it repeats 3 times. It's so intuitive and saves you from needing a bunch of separate clunky text manipulation functions.
Also, unlike a lot of other languages that rely on obscure symbols for Boolean logic, double ampersands or vertical pipes, Python leans hard into readability. It literally just uses plain English words. You evaluate logic with and, or, and not. Want to check if something exists in an array? Just use the word in. This is incredibly powerful because when you scale up and write complex logic for massive data pipelines, your code still reads almost like a spoken sentence. Makes debugging a whole lot easier for sure.
So, by mastering these foundational types, the sheer power of sequence slicing, and Python's built-in mathematical logic, that whole syntax barrier just completely vanishes. Thanks to the insights from CL coding innovations in this explainer, you are now perfectly equipped to dive right into advanced NumPy data pipelines, handle multi-dimensional arrays, and execute complex basic operations. You aren't fighting the language anymore, you're just assembling the blocks. So, what kind of systems are you going to build? Get out there, open up an editor, and start experimenting. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.